Hi, I'm Neil. Good to see you again. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing this bad boy, the Falcon Eyes SO 28TD bicolor LED lamp. Now, being a wedding photographer, this review is going to be specifically related to whether you can use this light at a wedding, and if you did take it to a wedding, how useful would it be? And a little later in the video, I'm going to show you some behind the scenes of where I did use this light to take some outside evening portraits for a bride and groom at one of my recent weddings. So let's crack on. Now, just before we start this review, I should just say that the company who made this light very kindly asked if they could send me the light in return for me reviewing it on my channel. And that is literally the extent of our messages. We only had a couple of messages back and forth. They haven't asked me to say anything whatsoever specific about the light, and they haven't paid me anything for this review. And I just felt it's really important to tell you that. So everything that I say in this review is going to be my honest opinion. The second thing to say is that this is not going to be in any way a technical review. I'm not going to go into lots of jargon or comparisons, but what I am going to do is tell you how this light performs in real world situations. So to start, let me just show you the light. It comes in this cool bag along with a power lead so you can plug it in, although you can also use the light with a battery if you prefer, which is really great as that way you can then use it anywhere. Design wise, I find it really cool. Almost all of the front, as you see, is taken up with the actual light, which has this really nice round plate design, which inside has 120 LEDs, which are covered by this really nice diffusion panel. The diffusion panel also ensures that you get a really nice quality of light. The light sits on a light stand, as you'll see here, and you can also adjust the angle of the light. It spins round 180 degrees, that's 360 degrees, it goes all the way around. And here is the back of the light. As you'll see, there's a little electronic display which in the top right corner shows how much power the battery has left in it if you're using an external battery as opposed to having it plugged in with the AC adapter to the wall. We've got the ability to turn up the power, which is really straightforward. Just tapping your finger on here from 0 to 100%, which says it's really quite strong. There's 28 watts of light when it's at 100%. And we can also here as well change the white balance. It goes up to 5,600 Kelvin and all the way down to 3,000 Kelvin. I'm not really sure why. As I lower the Kelvin, the actual white balance gets warmer, but that's a bit of a strange one. Not sure why that is. Might just be on this model, but either way you can change the white balance from really cool to nice and warm. This is where you choose whether you want the power to come from the battery or the AC adapter. Using a battery is really simple as well. If I just take the battery out, see the power's going to go off, and we just press this button here, the battery just comes off. Really easy just to put it back on, just like that, just clips into place, just turn it back on. So again, really easy and straightforward to use, and very quick to use as well. It's very responsive. So when I first received the light about a month ago now, my first impressions were really good. In fact, I've actually used it to light myself in my last couple of videos. Just so you can see how the light from this looks on me, albeit I'm not a very good model, I'm currently lighting myself with a ring light, which is the reason I have these crazy catch lights in my eye, and this is me being lit by the Falcon Eyes light. So even before I'd even tried it out at a wedding, I was really impressed by the light when it came to lighting myself for videos. In fact, to be honest, I think once I've finished this video and put it online, I don't think I'll actually use the ring light again, because I much prefer the light that I get from the Falcon Eyes LED light. So the most important question really, I suppose, is would this light be useful at a wedding? The answer is yes, definitely. I own a few different video lights and LED panels, and although I don't use them very often at a wedding, they definitely can come in handy. Much as I love using off-camera flash, obviously lots of my channel is about how I use off-camera flash, there are times when using continuous light like this is better and easier. The big difference really between off-camera flash and an LED light like this continuous lighting is power. Obviously a flash is much more powerful than a continuous light like this. The light that a flash gives out will be far stronger, but equally there are times when you may only want a small amount of light, and a speed light can actually sometimes be too strong even at its minimum power. Continuous lights are always easier to use too, because obviously you're seeing what you're getting from the light when you look through the viewfinder. And the really great thing about this light in particular is the quality of the light which it produces. Compared to all the LED and video lights which I've used in the past, the actual surface area of this light, as you see here, is fairly large. And that's a really good thing, because the larger the light source, the softer the light will be. And the light which comes from this is absolutely beautiful, helped by the fact we have this really nice diffusion panel on the front. So if we go back to having the light on me again now. So although I am a terrible model, you can see how the quality of light is really nice, which is obviously something which is really important if you're looking to use a light like this for bride and groom portraits. The quality of light is, especially for close-up portraits, is absolutely essential that it's nice. You want that light to be really soft and really flattering. Also, the fact that you can change the white balance too is a really nice feature. Now obviously the white balance that you see on screen is going to be very much dependent, its appearance is going to be very much dependent on the white balance settings that I'm using on my camera. I'm shooting this in a manual white balance, but you can see the contrast between this nice warm looking light and the cooler light. So we're now just going to go back to the ring light. So in terms of using this light at a wedding, I think it could come handy in 3 main ways. Firstly, as it's quite powerful, you get 28 watts of power coming from this light, you could use it to light a small indoor group. So for group shots it could be quite useful. Also, and I don't do this, but you could, if you wanted to, use it to light up the dance floor. But I think for most photographers, certainly for me, the time that you're most likely to use an LED light such as this one at a wedding is for bride and groom portraits. So to help you see how it can be used, here is a clip of me at a recent wedding. So as you can see, I use this light for some evening portraits. Although you couldn't use this or any other continuous light in bright natural light, as the Falcon Eyes light is quite bright, you don't need it to be super dark to use it. As you can see here, there's actually still some blue in the sky, so it wasn't completely dark. For these shots, the light was on 74% power, which was easily bright enough to allow me to underexpose the building in the background, which was lit up, and also light Anna and Ben, the bride and groom. And here are the final images from this little portrait session. As I mentioned earlier, I think this light gives off a really good quality of light. It's really nice and soft, helped by the fact that the actual light source is fairly large. And as I mentioned, always remember that the larger the light source, the softer the light will be. I also tried to make sure that I had the light as close as possible to Anna and Ben, because another thing to remember with light, the closer the light source, the nicer and the softer the quality of the light will be. So would I recommend this light? That's the big question, I suppose, and the answer is I definitely would. The only potential downside, as far as I can see, for wedding photography is its size. As you can see, it's not the smallest of lights. It's not something you can keep in your camera bag. You will have to take it separately to the wedding in the bag which it comes with, which is, you know, a little bit cumbersome. It's not really ideal. But, as I said earlier, you have to remember that the bigger the light source, the better, the softer the light will be. So if you do want the best light from a continuous light source, then a light like this is going to give you that. So the size is a compromise which you'll have to make, really. So it's not ideal, because I do like to have as much as I can in my actual camera bag, and there's no way I can put this in. But as I say, I think this has very specific uses, such as evening portraits, where you're going to have a little bit more time. It's like you're going to just need this on the fly, as it were. So I do think it's something that is worthwhile having on you, but just understand you'll probably just use it on specific times of the day rather than a lot of times during the day. Please do remember though, and this is quite important, that no continuous light source, no LED panel like this is ever going to be a substitute for flash. But lights like this do definitely have a place at weddings. It's extremely easy to use, it's easily bright and powerful enough to help you create some really cool portraits, and it's also really good, as I say, it would be good for small family group shots indoors. Since I've had the light, I've taken it now to 4 weddings of mine, and I've used it at 2 of them. So it's not something that I will use all the time, but it is definitely something which I'll now be taking with me to every wedding, just in case, as I say, that when the right time comes, this is a really cool piece of kit. If you're interested in buying the light, I'll put links to it in the description so you can see where to do so. So a massive thank you to Falcon Eyes for sending me the light, and also to you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.